Thanks for joining me for part 2 of the heavy metal synth build. That's what I'm calling it. If you didn't catch the first part, that's okay. You can click a link and watch it now or later. This will just catch you up. See how I cut the metal and then I welded it together, and then I made a case, and then I stuffed it full of electronics. Just to be clear, I'm using other people's designs and assembling them all into one unit that I can call my own. So this one was made by No Computer using the famous Curtis oscillator, which was used in lots of old synths like the ARP Odyssey and the Super Jupiter and the Prophet 5. So I used that, and I also used his adaptation of the MS-20 filter. I also used a low frequency oscillator designed by David Haillant. He provides a kit on his website with immaculate instructions and build materials and schematics. I purchased the PCB, and I just used his list to buy all the materials I didn't already have myself. You can see them here. One of my favorite things to do when I'm assembling these things is to have this little pile of plastic envelopes and then dig into each one individually and pull out each part, and watching my little circuit grow piece by piece. Now, there's something I should probably mention. You can see these little red capacitors I'm playing with. They look a little askew. One word of warning to anybody starting out, like me, building things, is to be sure to read all of the little columns when you go onto the Mouser website or whatever website you go to buy these things, and make sure that all the sizes are correct, because I bought capacitors that are just a little too big, though they still work, which I will prove momentarily. And I should say I'm talking about the actual physical size of the capacitor, not the capacitance, because on the list that I received, it said 5mm pin pitch. And when I went to the website, I looked for anything that said 5mm, and I said, that's it. But I should have looked for lead spacing. That was 7.5mm. And those are important millimeters. You can see here, pin pitch is the same thing as lead spacing, not width. Now you see before you all the elements that are going to go into this instrument, starting with the bus I made myself. And I did decide to go with the ground plane bus, which I still think is kind of odd. It's very handsome though. I have seen other store-bought instruments that have this ground plane on their boards. I think they might have masks on them, actually. I should probably look into that. But I know it does work because these little violet LEDs are lighting up. And this is the MS-20 filter I mentioned earlier by No Computer. And over here is the Curtis oscillator that he adapted. And down here is the LFO. And you can see here by the little amber LED pulsing that the LFO is functioning too. There is always a moment of tension just before plugging this in, wondering if it'll actually work. That's part of the reason why, even though David provides everything you need to know to build it yourself on his website, I just bought the PCB because I'm not quite comfortable reading schematics yet. So here's the AI synthesis power supply, and that means all that's left to do is just stuff it into the case. Previously, I have shown how I anodize these aluminum panels and then how I etch them in the laser etcher, but I haven't shown really how I design them. So I thought it might be interesting to spend about 1 minute showing you how I scan the panel into Photoshop at full size and then place the words where I think I might need them. You'll see that my designs are pretty plain, and I'm trying to use less than 4 letters for all these words. So I just wanted to reference how the original design for the LFO panel was. Obviously, I'm using a different configuration, but it's important to use every reference available. Now, if I was designing this for the public, like if I was going to try to sell it, I'd make it a little more aesthetically pleasing. but I just need something functional and something that I can read easily in low light, because the laser etcher is going to make these letters white on silver, so they're going to be hard to read anyway. I just need it to be plain and easy to read. That's why I'm going to draw little lines to make sure I know which section is which. And now I'll head off to the laser lab. You've already seen that, I won't show it. Kakaung, there it is. I've stuffed it full of electronics and turned it on, and you're seeing the very first few minutes of me testing it out. Hear the LFO thumping in the background. Pretty soon I'm going to swing around and show you what the electronics look like, and then I'll plug in my sequencer and see if I can make some music.